The position of offensive tackle was viewed by many, including myself, to be one of the biggest needs for the Baltimore Ravens going into the 2024 NFL Draft. Lucky for the Ravens, this draft was considered to be potentially one of the historically best for the offensive line and the offensive tackle position in particular. With 8 offensive tackles going in the first round before the Ravens even picked at number 30, the strength of the position was on full display. But the Ravens drafting of Roger Rosengarten at pick 62 showcases the depth of that position group even more. The Ravens showed patience and were rewarded by being able to draft the tackle they wanted, who will be expected to start at right tackle day one and perhaps move to Lamar's blind side in the future. Welcome in, everyone. This is Jordan with Ravens Flash Report, and today we're going to be breaking down the pick of offensive tackle Roger Rosengarten and what his impact could potentially be not only for the Ravens in 2024, but the lasting impact of what his skill set could have for the Ravens' future. The offensive line has been a major source of discussion and frustration for fans after the departure of 3 starters that were there in 2023. Currently, center Tyler Linderbaum and left tackle Ronnie Stanley are the only returning members of last year's starting line. There are several members of the Ravens that will be fighting for what I see as only 2 other positions, both right guard and left guard. The right tackle spot is already Rosengarten's to lose, in my opinion. But give this a like if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new, and comment your thoughts on Roger below, and let's get to it. Zero sacks. There are several discrepancies between some stats regarding Rodgers' collegiate career. Games played, whether it's 27 or 28, QB hurries anywhere from 23 to 27, QB hits 4 or 5, and how many snaps he took, which is anywhere from 1,794 to 1,948. But the one stat that is agreed upon across all sites and metrics is that Roger Rosengarten gave up 0 sacks in the 2 seasons he started at right tackle for the Washington Huskies. Now, it may be common knowledge at this point, but the left tackle position is deemed more important than the right due to it usually being the quarterback's blind side. However, Michael Penix Jr., Washington's QB during 2022 and 2023, is left handed, meaning his blind side would need to be protected by his right tackle, Roger Rosengarten. The Ravens front office showed their fan base a number of things during this year's draft. The first is that drafting the best player available is still their motto. The second is that they agreed that we need a tackle. And third is that we don't need to draft a guard. My early predictions for the 2024 starting offensive line is left tackle Ronnie Stanley, left guard Andrew Voorhees, center Tyler Linderbaum, right guard Ben Cleveland, and right tackle Roger Rosengarten. If this group can stay healthy through the majority of the season, particularly through the final stretch, I believe that gives us the best chance to protect Lamar Jackson, thus giving us the best chance to win. Now, there are a few things that have to happen, and I'll admit some of these are more or less likely than others. Ronnie Stanley gives us 80 to 85% of what he gave us in 2019 for at least 14 to 15 games. Andrew Voorhees actually is the guy we thought he was when we drafted him in 2023. Ben Cleveland proves his good analytic numbers aren't just a fluke. Tyler Linderbaum just shows up, because honestly, he's the least concerning here, and we know it. And Roger Rosengarten, and can he translate his college production to the NFL and quickly? Now, I think 3 of these are more likely because Linderbaum is already one of the best centers in the NFL. Voorhees was a consensus round 2 or 3 pick last year before his injury, coupled with EDC not getting another guard in this draft. And Rosengarten has incredible athleticism, with his only true concerns being play strength due to his lower body weight and his tendency to overreach on some of his sets by being too aggressive. Cleveland's improvements will be on display during camp and preseason, and Ronnie's health will simply be something that we have to wait and see during the season. Now, the realist in me believes that Rosengarten will, as many, have bumps along the road to improvement, and that we as fans can only hope those bumps come at a less pivotal time. Preseason would be best, of course, but we just have to hope that when things really matter at the end of the season, and hopefully in the playoffs, he has learned enough and has become experienced enough with Lamar and this offense to play well and keep Lamar off his back. The optimist in me looks at the athleticism of Rosengarten and how Todd Monken wants to run this offense, paired with the abilities of Lamar and Henry, and honestly, it gets me excited. The Ravens are building an extremely dynamic line in front of Lamar, one that will be better at protecting him as he moves around inside the pocket and gets up to the second level of the defense to block for this even further improved running game. People can say whatever they want about Rosengarten's weight, but imagine him blocking out in front with Ricard behind him and Henry behind both of them. I can't wait to see how many defenders it takes to stop that train of guys who should not be able to move as fast as they can at their sizes. Now, I recently watched Cole Jackson's breakdown of Rosengarten's film, and while my own analysis pales in comparison to Jackson's, his enthusiasm for what Rosengarten can do is infectious. But as someone who does not claim to be the offensive line guru that Cole is, even I can tell with my own eyes that Rosengarten is a much more polished and nuanced tackle than many of the major sites like PFF and NFL.com are giving him credit for. There also seems to be no consensus on his strengths and weaknesses, as NFL and NFL Draft Buzz seem to be at odds with his foot speed, as well as NFL.com suggesting a move inside to guard could give him a better shot at making a roster, and PFF simply saying he's worth a day 3 flyer as a developmental athletic offensive tackle, while also saying he lacks the power necessary to survive at the NFL level in his current state. At least PFF is accounting for him not staying stagnant with his development. Now, I don't want to appear biased and seem as though I'm viewing Rosengarten through rosen tinted glasses. Forgive the pun. Of course, I want him to be good, or even great. I'm a Ravens fan, and the Ravens drafted him, but I also believe that I am objective enough to see the flaws in even our best players. With that being said, I believe the 2024 season for Rosengarten will be one of growth and lessons, which could result in some growing pains through the majority of the early part of the season, but I think it's fair to say that we didn't draft Rosengarten for 2024. We drafted him for 2025 through 2027, because you rarely draft a guy based on what he is in college. You draft him because you believe in what he can develop into as a pro. But what do you guys think? Is he the 2024 starting right tackle? Does his slighter frame give you concerns? And who are your starting five across the O-line this upcoming season? I appreciate all of you checking in and giving your feedback on these videos. If you haven't already, like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you're new, and as always, stay safe out there and go Ravens.